So when it comes to this team, the first thing that stands out to me is Glalie. I hate to say it. You don't see Glalie a ton in the WPL. I think it's been drafted once and sat on the bench all season.
I think they came out eventually, but we were waiting all season,
For
so
these
it
shenanigans in
it was a wait.
quotations, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't discount Glalie on this team. I think it's not a secret that Glalie can use Frost Breath to trigger Anger Point on Tauros because a really iconic combo is Frostlass Tauros. So, I mean, that is doable. There's a reason that Frostlass is favored over Glalie for that, but I mean, hey, you want to make it work, you make it work. You know what I mean?
And choice scarf's a thing too. Like I can definitely see something like that working, and you always got to respect it. And that's the cool thing about Draft League is you see a strat, you see synergy with two mons that might be unlikely, but you still have to respect it because if they do it,
Right.
you in Draft League I've seen so many 4-0 wins. It's just a 3-turn sweep sometimes, right? You just get a double KO in one turn, and then you just
Yeah.
KO game over. Um, I've never experienced that before in round one of the playoffs last season. I see a lot of really cool mons on this team. Like the Dragapult, whenever you add Dragapult to a team, is just so good. And Gyarados since Gen 1 in RBY has always just been a monster. And I don't think Gyarados
Yep.
has ever been bad in any generation ever,
Hmm.
which is a really cool thing and not easy to say about everything. From Gen 1. So I see Gyarados, you got two Intimidate users, but Moxie is also really cool on Gyarados as well. It can really, really just start snowballing once it gets going. So when I look at this team, I
Yeah.
see a lot of offense in a sense that I see a lot of Dynamax candidates. I think Magnezone could
True.
be underlooked. And
Yeah.
not to mention, I don't like Rhydon as the primary Lightning Rod user because I definitely see that on this team for Gyarados, which is kind of nice. But 130 attack. Like I didn't know that it had 130 until maybe 10 minutes before this episode started airing or
Hmm.
recording. But
Yeah. I mean, the most iconic rock ground types from Gen 1 are Onyx, Golem, and Rhydon, and I think it's very fair to say that Onyx and Golem did not get that much love in
no,
the stats department. Uh,
poor Onyx.
Rhydon, though, I mean, you get Rhyhorn initially in Safari Zone, and they evolve really late,
hmm
and
I think it's
pretty much the only
50.
other Pokemon. What's
I
that?
think it's 50 actually in Gen 1. I remember saying, no, I'm
Yeah,
not waiting that long.
it's something really high. Dragonite evolves at 55 if memory serves, and
Yeah.
Dragonite stats are amazing. So that was really the precedent. If you have well, they're also you can get a Dratini and Celadon City through the game corner,
hmm
but yeah, they're also one of those Safari Zone pickups. They're just really good Pokemon. Safari Zone, Kangaskhan, Chansey. Yeah, so in that regard, I think it makes sense to find out. Yeah, Rhydon actually does have good stats and access to Eviolite.
Yep. Eviolite
Now,
Rhydon can definitely make up for his lower special defense stat. Maybe not quite as much, but I think it can be
no,
really good. Like, hey, Kartana can make it
yeah,
work. I think Rhydon can make it work, right? With the assault vest.
yeah, I would say so. It is also fair to say that Rhydon does have a few more weaknesses than
maybe
Kartana,
one
but
or
hey.
two. Yeah. Horndrill, Okomus, you gotta love them. You
Yeah.
know what's funny? We haven't mentioned this, and I think it's one of the coolest things on this team is Comfey.
Yeah, I'm a big Comfey stan. Um, if ever I see Comfey in prep, because I haven't been able to draft Comfey yet, uh, I I get flustered. There's just so much Comfey can do,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really hard to anticipate before going into the match what Comfey will even go for. And the last time I faced Comfey, I was like trying to play around Trick Room, and I never found out if that Comfey has Trick Room or not. I still think it could have been the right play, but it would have been really nice to know one way or the other. Would have given me more options. Would have given me some more certainty. That's the beauty of Comfey, first and foremost. But Triage is also personally one of my all-time favorite
Oh
abilities,
yeah.
and there are a few Pokemon can uh, who can pair up with Comfey, who can activate our weakness policy.
Weedle to a needle, shout out.
Mm.
Yeah, I love Comfey too, man. Like, Triage is just such a cool ability. Like, giving all healing moves +3 priority, which is the same as Fake Out. I think that's... People don't realize that, Fake Out, crap, I can't do it. No. Comfey being 100 base speed, if you have a slow Fake Out user like a Scrafty or something like that, this thing gets its Triage... like a Draining Kiss on the Dragapult or the Hawlucha or something like that, or Floral Healing for that matter. It gets it going before, which I don't think a lot of people know. I think every coach probably does because they're clearly
here. Yeah.
Yeah, here, yeah. I think they know. But to our listeners, though, I think it's, you know, another thing we want to accomplish too with these videos as well. This is the first of many, but is also a lot of people listening play Draft League, right? So if this makes you even just a little bit better, like, oh, I didn't know that. You know, I think that just kind of icing on the cake for this. This is just for entertainment, just to kind of people that have an investment in the league at the moment, whether or not they're supporting one of their league representatives that they come from, or whether or not they just like good, high quality, best on best Draft League. I think if you learn a little bit, that's just icing on the cake. So that's just one little side note thing. But again, we can go on for hours about every single one of these teams. So, but just to put a bow on this team, I'd say if there was one thing or one move I could make on this team, because it's also very, very good. I like this team. I know it's a weird one because you have Comfey and Hawlucha right beside each other, and not to mention Hawlucha's right next to the Grassy Terrain setter for the Unburden boost on both of them, or from both of them for that matter. I think that because the B tier has so much value in it, I think there's so many mons that could add something to this team in the B tier. And I think because you have Thwacky just activating a seed on anything it wants to hold it. You know, you've already got the Comfey Dragapult with the Draining Kiss weakness policy activation. I think that's already a strat that people prepare for. So I think you can add something in the B tier as well. And, you know, it'd be really, really nice. Talonflame makes things so much better. I don't think Dragapult needs a Tailwind boost, obviously. Gyarados could benefit from it, but can also Airstream itself. But I think adding a nice, hard-hitting special attacker in the B tier, maybe a Dynamax option preferably, but not to mention Magnezone's just sitting down there that would love a Tailwind boost. I think you actually mentioned that yesterday as well. I'll give you credit for that. But I think a nice special attacker to go with that priority Tailwind with the Gale Wings ability, I think would just be so nice on this team. What do you think?
I would, with regard to Tailwind next to Dragapult, I love doubling down. Because people like to try to counter these fast sweepers. So Dragapult has base 142 speed. People go, oh, I choice Scarf, now I'm faster.
Yep.
When you also have Tailwind to worry about, that gets a bit more complicated.
Yep.
Also, you're getting more value out of Dragapult's speed if you have Weather and Prankster. So I love that combination. Hawlucha, I think you already have Draining Kiss specifically even for Dragapult, right? Dragapult also has Airstream. So I don't know that Dragapult and Hawlucha are different enough to say that it's optimal to have both. There is a secret tech that I'm not going to mention, which I see with Hawlucha, so I think that Hawlucha can justify their staying there. But what if, yeah, I want to see Magnezone in action. I'm not 100% sure I see Magnezone coming often on this team.
That's a fair point, actually, yeah. But
it is also fair to say Magnezone is the premier special attacker on this team.
Which is another good point as well. And yeah, like that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to get rid of Magnezone was because I think that it needs one more. So if you replaced it, I think it would definitely add something. But I think it might need it. I think Hawlucha you definitely have to respect with Unburden and not to mention a weakness policy strat that doubles its speed and doubles its attack. Oh my god. Very, very cool tech. So is there anything in? I'm just gonna kind of throw this at you. You can say I don't know. Is there anything specific that would fit perfectly on this team? Not even caring if it belongs to another team right now. When it comes to a special attacker. Maybe.
I mean,
something in the D tier. Oh yeah. I like Inteleon. I love Inteleon just in general. I think Dragapult Inteleon.
oh, work. Yeah. I love Inteleon. Inteleon Dragapult to me just isn't fair.
Inteleon, I think,
that's
is an
a
A
really
tier,
perfect combo.
unfortunately. But I do think just if you're looking for something that might go well with this team, I think Inteleon with its speed and its special attack would just be really, really nice. But maybe you can find an Inteleon type thing in the B tier. So I think Sean is the actual coach of this team. So curious if he's going to make any changes or if he's just going to kind of go in as it is. And I think all of these teams can just go into week 1 as is, which is actually really neat.
Yeah.